Thinking about stopping creatine? Wondering what happens when you stop taking creatine? Do your gains vanish? Do you shrink? Does strength fall off a cliff? Here's the truth. There's no scary creatine withdrawal, no overnight muscle meltdown, and no emergency haircut to mourn your biceps. But there are predictable changes to your weight, pumps, performance, and recovery. And if you know the timeline, you'll glide through it without panic. In this video, we'll break down exactly what happens after stopping creatine, how long creatine stays in your system, what to expect in the mirror and in your logbook, and how to pause or restart without losing momentum. If you've ever searched, "Stop creatine side effects, coming off creatine," or "Do you lose muscle after stopping creatine?" you're in the right place. Let's make this simple, science-backed, and a little fun. Days 1 to 2, no crash, no drama, just normal. Take a breath. Creatine isn't a stimulant. It doesn't flip a switch you can feel in real time. So when you stop creatine, nothing dramatic happens in the first 24 to 48 hours. No energy crash. No strength freefall. No, my pump left me on read. Your muscles are still holding higher than baseline creatine for a while, and your training will feel like you're training. If you were strong yesterday, you're strong today. The biggest immediate change is psychological. People expect a cliff, so every tough rep suddenly feels like proof. It isn't. Keep training. Keep eating like you mean it. Keep sleeping like you care about progress. Week 1, the water weight drop, and why it's not bad news. This is the first thing most people notice after quitting creatine. The scale dips by about 1 to 3 pounds, sometimes up to 4 to 6 pounds in larger athletes who'd loaded aggressively. That weight is mostly intracellular water held inside muscle cells, not fat and not actual contractile tissue. Creatine acts like a good landlord for water inside the muscle. When you stop, your body gradually releases some of that water and you look a bit less full. Translation: your sleeves might feel a whisper looser, and your pumps aren't as dramatic. But strength doesn't evaporate with it. Think of it like letting a little air out of a basketball. It's still a basketball, it just isn't quite as bouncy. Aesthetically, many lifters say they look flatter. That's normal. It's not a sign you're losing muscle, it's the reduced cell volumization effect that made you look rounder on creatine. If you're in a weight class sport or cutting for a photo, the week 1 drop can actually be convenient. If you're bulking, don't panic. Real muscle is built by training and food, not water alone. Weeks 2 to 4, the performance taper, small, predictable, manageable. Here's where the physiology shows up in the gym. After stopping creatine, your muscle creatine and phosphocreatine levels drift back toward baseline over roughly 2 to 4 weeks. As those stores fade, you may notice a small reduction in repeated high-intensity performance. Not a catastrophic strength loss, more like losing a rep on later sets or needing a touch more rest. What this feels like. Set 1 is normal, sets 3 and 4 feel a shade heavier than you remember. You might lose 1 rep at the same load in the back half of a session. Bar speed drops off a bit faster late in workouts. The size of the effect varies. People who responded strongly to creatine, vegans/vegetarians often do, notice it more. Habitual heavy meat eaters sometimes notice less. We're talking percent level differences, not program-breaking losses. The solution isn't to mourn creatine, it's to train smart through the transition, honor your rest periods, keep your technique tight, and microload instead of forcing old numbers when they're not there that day. Strength, muscle, and do I lose my gains? Short answer: you don't lose actual muscle just because you stopped creatine. Muscle is expensive tissue, your body doesn't auction it off the second you stop scooping. What can change quickly is water inside the muscle, the fullness effect, and what can change slowly is your capacity to sustain peak performance across repeated sets. If your training quality and nutrition stay on point, especially protein intake around 1.6 to 2.2 g/kg/day, your muscle mass is not going to wither. Over months, if creatine helped you do an extra rep here and there, removing it can slightly reduce the built-in advantage for hypertrophy. More quality volume equals more growth. But that's a long-term compounding effect, not an overnight shrink ray. The key is to separate look from tissue. Looking a touch flatter is not the same as losing fibers. Keep your volume within a productive range, about 10 to 20 hard sets per muscle per week. Progress reps or load where possible, and eat like someone who actually wants to grow. If anything, use the transition as a chance to sharpen execution and exercise selection. Those levers move muscle more than any supplement. Pumps, fullness, and mirror management. Let's talk feelings, specifically, the "my pump ghosted me" feeling. Creatine's cell volumizing effect makes muscles look rounder and pumps feel juicier. When you stop taking creatine, pumps can feel more fleeting and less explosive. That's normal. Here's how to keep your morale and your mirror happy. Pre-training carbs and sodium matter. Show up fed and salted, especially if you sweat a lot. Don't fear the hydration game. Show your muscles some water love, 2 to 3 liters/day baseline. Pick exercises you feel in the target muscle and use rep ranges that let you accumulate tension without joint drama. 8 to 15 reps is a sweet spot for many, except that your look might be 5% less inflated and 0% less determined. If you're cutting when you stop creatine, the visual changes can feel exaggerated because you're also leaning out. Remember the timeline: flatness shows up fast, true tissue change takes weeks to months. And if you miss the pump more than you thought you would, you can always reintroduce creatine. There's no penalty for changing your mind. Recovery, soreness, and fatigue between sets. Creatine often shines in the spaces between sets, helping you regenerate ATP faster so you can maintain quality. Without it, you may feel a smidge more fatigue set to set. Simple fixes. Add 15 to 30 seconds to your rest on key compound lifts. Keep a couple reps in reserve on most sets so the quality stays high. If soreness spikes, it's usually from chasing volume or intensity without adapting rest and nutrition. Nudge protein up, walk more, and sleep like it matters. Don't panic program. Resist the urge to overhaul your plan because one session felt sticky. You'll adapt. The human body is obnoxiously good at it. After the initial 2 to 4 week washout, your baseline will feel normal again, just without that small creatine-powered cushion in the later sets. Brain, labs, hydration, and all the random stuff people worry about. Cognition. Creatine can offer small cognitive benefits in sleep-deprived states and in people with low dietary creatine. When you stop, those subtle boosts fade too. You won't feel foggy, you'll just be back to baseline. Sleep is still the GOAT, protect it. Hydration and cramps. Stopping creatine doesn't increase cramp risk. With or without creatine, cramps are usually a hydration, electrolyte issue. Keep your water and sodium/potassium honest. Labs. Creatinine. If creatine nudged your serum creatinine upward, common and usually benign in healthy users, stopping will let it drift back down as stores wash out over a few weeks. If you're being monitored for kidney health, tell your clinician you were supplementing. They can use additional markers like cystatin C if needed. Hair. There's no solid evidence that creatine causes hair loss. Stopping won't trigger a rebound, and starting won't doom your hair. Genetics do the heavy lifting there. How to stop, and how to restart, without losing momentum. Tapering, not necessary. You can stop cold turkey. No withdrawal, no crash. Training during washout, keep your program. If later sets feel sticky, add a touch of rest or drop one back off set temporarily. Don't ego lift old numbers if the rep quality isn't there that day. Progress with micro jumps instead. Nutrition. Hold protein in the 1.6 to 2.2 g/kg/day range. Carbs fuel performance. Don't starve your sets if you want them to move. Hydration and electrolytes, same rules as before. 2 to 3 liters of water per day as a baseline, plus sodium/potassium to match your sweat. Reintroducing creatine. If you want the benefits back quickly, load for 5 to 7 days at 20 g/day split into 4 doses, then maintain at 3 to 5 g/day. If you're not in a rush, skip loading and take 3 to 5 g daily. Your muscles will resaturate in about 3 to 4 weeks. There's no penalty for changing your mind. Cycling isn't required, but pausing is fine. Travel and chaos plan. Keep a small scoop in your bag and pre-measure a week's worth if you're on the fence about stopping. The best plan is the one you can actually do. Bring it home. Stopping creatine is less falling off a cliff and more stepping off a tiny curb. In the first week, you'll likely drop a couple pounds of intracellular water and look a touch flatter. Over the next 2 to 4 weeks, performance in repeated high-intensity efforts may taper slightly, usually a rep here or there on later sets. You won't lose actual muscle if your training and nutrition stay on point. Your look just shifts from volumized to baseline. Recovery between sets might feel a bit stingier, so give yourself another 15 to 30 seconds when you need it. Your labs normalize, your cognition returns to baseline, and your cramp risk doesn't suddenly spike. If you want the creatine edge back, you can always restart. If this helped, drop, stopped, or restarting in the comments with your plan, and tell me what you notice in week 1 and week 4.